Hi, Michael Warren here with Terra Forma cards. I wanted to take some time and make a short video that kind of digs a little bit deeper into Terra Forma cards, the Art Edition, the first deck that we came out with. Basically, if you're unfamiliar with Terra Forma cards, the purpose of Terra Forma cards is to serve as an interactive springboard activity to help students, to guide students through the creative ideation process, coming up with an original idea for their artwork that is not only original and creative, but also meaningful, that connects concrete subject matter to abstract thematic underpinnings. Something that I've noticed for 14 years in high school art education that almost every student has a difficult time doing. There are 15 pairs of photographs in each deck, and each pair is denoted by the pattern in the middle that lines up. Students, either individually or with a partner or in small groups, go through, this is important, 3 to 5 pairs of photographs. That's 3 to 5 pairs, choosing their favorite one. So this is one pair. We're going to choose our favorite one. Today I'm going to go with the boat. Now what's important to keep in mind is that there's no right or wrong answers. So looking at the next pair, cupcakes look delicious, but I'm going to go with the bicycle. All right, for this one, I'm going to go with creepy forest. All right. So I've only gone through 3 pairs. Like I said, I would go through 3 to 5 pairs of photographs, students choosing their favorite. These are the 3 that I was, for whatever reason, subconsciously drawn to. I liked the creepy forest, I liked the bicycle, and I liked the old wooden boat. Here's the deal, I don't want them copying this, right? I don't want them copying these photographs. I want them inspired by the things that they enjoy, or the things that they're attracted to. On the back of each card, there are 6 lists that are inspired by the image on the front, okay? There are themes and subject matter, processes and media, concepts. These are just things that we cover throughout the year, ranging from elements and principles of art, to different drawing techniques, to certain movements in art history, to action words. These are physical things they can do to their artwork to further explore their conceptual idea. When I look at the back of all 3 of these cards, though, that's a lot of lists. And students have a hard time organizing these thoughts and starting to kind of find the connective tissue between them and then generating an original idea. So here's what we've done. The last card in the deck is a catalyst card. The catalyst card has 5 Mad Lib style questions that students will fill in. They only need to fill in 1 question. That's really important. I get that email a lot. That students are having a hard time filling in all of the questions. You only need to fill in 1. So students will use a combination from all of these cards to fill in, let's just say the first one. How can I use some subject matter to explore some theme in my process using media? So for instance, just an example, and these are actually from the cards, just an example that I use. How can I use gears to explore metallic surfaces in my drawing using charcoal? That's just one example. Now what's great is, even just from these 3 cards, there are hundreds of possibilities. Just from these 3. There are 15 pairs of photographs. So just infinite possibilities that students could come up with. Now, one thing that I do want to go over is how can you adapt this for your classroom? Because I'm sure some people are sitting there going, yeah, I'm not going to turn 35 Art 1 students loose and just go, good luck, use the cards, come up with an idea. You don't have to. What's great about this is this process is extremely modular, extremely modular. Therefore, you as the teacher determine how much autonomy the student has and how much you take over of the lesson. For instance, let's just go with question number 1 again. How can I use some subject matter to explore some theme in my process using media? So in my class, when I teach watercolor to Art 1, we use the cards to come up with their idea for their painting. So I spend a week teaching 8 different watercolor techniques, and I go around making sure that every student knows how to do that formative assessment. I go around making sure that every student is, doing wet and wet correctly, putting salt on at the right time, all of these different techniques that we're all familiar with. At the end of the week, I say, guys, we're going to use the cards to come up with an original idea for your painting. What you have to do is show mastery of 5 to 8 watercolor techniques. So students in small groups go through 5 pairs of photographs, selecting their favorites, discussing aesthetics of the images, and they use whatever images they select, they use those lists to generate their idea for the watercolor painting. Now, each painting is going to be different, but what I'm able to do is not only foster conceptual ideas in each individual student, but then in the end, I get to grade them on the mastery of 5 to 8 watercolor techniques in their painting. What's beautiful about it is in 2 classes of 33 students, I had 66 different watercolor paintings. Yet, again, I was able to focus on how well did they show mastery of 5 to 8 watercolor techniques. So, just to kind of give you a few examples, I've had a student say, how can I use machine parts to explore abandonment in my painting using watercolor? Had a girl that said, how can I use hair to explore movement in my painting using watercolor? And the list goes on and on and on. Now, while they're going through the cards and figuring this out, I'm moving around the room and facilitating conversations and making sure, this is another extremely important point, making sure that the connections that they are making are meaningful. I don't want them to feel like they're just kind of like covering their eyes and selecting a random subject matter and a random theme and going, wow, this is creative because it's weird. That's not meaningful. We want them to go through and find a meaningful connection that speaks to them, something that generates an idea that they can answer, with my example, in a watercolor painting. So, just looking at the cards that I selected, okay, this could be cool. How could I use boats to explore childhood memories? That's kind of neat. How could I use trees to explore tension in my painting using watercolor? How could I use bikes to explore abandonment? How could I use machines to explore nightmares in my painting using watercolor? So those are just a few examples from the 3 cards that I chose. The other thing is, let's say that with a middle school where they have like a strong grasp of the tactile world around them, but they're starting to play around with abstract thought and conceptual underpinnings, maybe, just sticking with an example I just used, maybe you want to teach them about abandonment and what that means or how to represent that in your artwork. So you could talk about different types of abandonment. There's emotional abandonment, physical abandonment. There is abandonment where there's natural reclamation taking over. There's abandonment because of calamities of war. If you accidentally leave your favorite toy at the state fair, that's a form of abandonment. So you could go over all of these things with students, and then they could go through the cards and figure out a subject matter that they could visualize representing abandonment in their drawing using colored pencils or painting using acrylic or fill in the blank, whatever you're teaching them. But you're helping them understand how to represent an abstract thought. What Terra Forma cards do is they not only help the student generate their own original idea for a work of art, but they also help the art teacher become more of a facilitator. And that's what we want to be. We want to be someone that facilitates these ideas and fosters creative ideation. Hopefully this video helps just a little bit. Please check us out at www.terraformacards.com. You can email any specific questions to me at hello@terraformacards.com. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, and we would love to hear from you. Take care.